You observe. Describe the main difference between a river and a lake. The river is moving quite swiftly, whereas the water in the lake is still. Rivers are larger bodies of flowing water. The Connecticut River, one of the largest rivers in New England, eventually empties into the Atlantic Ocean. Streams and creeks are smaller bodies of flowing water. The land area that drains into a stream and river system is referred to as a watershed. This map illustrates the huge area covered by the Mississippi River watershed. Many streams begin in hilly or mountainous areas and carry nutrients and other materials downhill. Mountain streams are cool and often contain water from snowmelt. As water tumbles over rocks and waterfalls, it becomes well oxygenated. The organisms that live in large, fast-moving streams are quite different than those in slow-moving rivers. Animals and plants in fast-moving streams have specific adaptations that enable them to survive in the swift current. Water in slower-moving rivers tends to be warmer, contains more silt, and has lower levels of dissolved oxygen. In some rivers, plants are able to anchor themselves to the bottom. Turtles, snakes, frogs, and some mammals such as otters are found in rivers. Warm water fish, such as bass, sunfish, carp, and catfish, can grow to great lengths in rivers. Fish that spend part of their lives in oceans, such as salmon and shad, often return to rivers to lay eggs. Large rivers eventually empty nutrient-rich fresh water into the ocean.
Now we will learn about oceans.
Oceans hold most of the world's water. They are large, deep storage areas filled with salt water. Water from land drains and flows into the oceans, where it can be stored for thousands of years. Not only do oceans give us seafood and pretty beaches, but they help to control weather and climate. Oceans provide water for clouds, precipitation, and huge storms like hurricanes. Ocean waters store heat and keep temperatures for islands steady throughout the year. Deep water moves slowly in currents. Ocean currents help to transfer heat around the globe. Oceans have always been used for travel, and they provide a good way to move heavy objects by ship. Even though oceans contain a lot of water, we can't drink it until the salt is removed, and that's not an easy thing to do. Did you know that most of the water on Earth is salt water? If all of the water on Earth were poured into 100 large buckets, 97 of the buckets would be salty ocean water. The oceans are huge, and there is a lot we don't know about them. We do know that they hold a large variety of plants, fish, and other creatures. A scientist who studies oceans is an oceanographer.
Now you will learn about lakes. Think about what's different about lakes than the other forms of water we've learned about.
Lakes are like small oceans, except most lakes are freshwater. They are a place to store water. Most lakes form naturally when water drains into one spot. Sometimes people create lakes when they build dams or when they just want to have water nearby. Lakes can be as small as a soccer field, bigger than a city, or as large as a state. In the United States, the Great Lakes hold most of the fresh water found in the country. These gigantic lakes are big enough to change the weather for cities along their shorelines, keeping them cooler in the summer and giving them moisture for snow in the winter. The amount of water in most lakes depends on how much rain or snow falls over time, so in long periods of dry weather, lake levels can fall. Many communities around the world get fresh drinking water from lakes. When we build or control a lake to give water to a city or town, that lake is called a reservoir. Lakes are home to many different fish and plants. Some lakes freeze in the winter, and the ice may be thick or thin. You've probably noticed that ice floats. Since it floats, there's always water beneath the solid ice, so the fish are okay.